it's Pat. I'm here with Recorder for Everyone. We are now ready for lesson 13. And alas, it is our final lesson in our series of basic recorder lessons. Up to this point, we've learned 8 notes. We've learned the basics of reading music. We've learned the basics of different rhythmic notes. And I'm hoping this is enough to propel you forward. You are now at the stage where you truly can go out on the internet and look for easy books to play. There's easy duet books, there's easy books with all kinds of songs. And if you've been able to go through all these lessons and learn, you are ready to do that. Now I want you to notice back here today that I have some of the other recorders, because after this lesson today, I'm going to do a video on the different recorders, what they're for, and how you can use them. My senior citizen recorder classes started on soprano. Once they got pretty good at it, they've moved into alto, tenor. I have a couple that have moved into bass. So I just want to talk to you about that. Now, so far in our lessons, we've gone through 80% of this book 1. And if you have the book, you can just go ahead and do the other 20% on your own, because we have covered everything you need to know for the rest of the music that's in there. There's one thing left that I'd like you to know about in book 1, and it is the tie. The tie takes 2 notes and it turns them into one single note. So if I take a dotted half note and I tie it to a half note, it becomes a 5-beat note. That note is longer than the whole note or the semi-breve, which only gets 4 beats. So that's one way to get a 5-beat note. Another thing I can do is take a half note, tie it to a quarter note, and suddenly I have a 3-beat note. Or I can take 2 quarter notes or 2 crotchets, tie them together, and I have a 2-beat note. Now I know all you sharp people out there are saying, well, why don't they just use a dotted half note? Why don't they just use a half note? Well, here's why. Here's an example in 4/4 time. We have a half note. We have a quarter note and a quarter note. That's 4 counts. 2 + 1 + 1 is 4. We draw the bar line. We are compelled to move to a new measure. So the composer says, but I would like a 2-beat note there. So that composer takes that tie, he ties those 2 notes together across the bar line into the next measure, and that composer has a 2-beat note. Here the composer says, I want a 4-beat note, but it isn't possible. So I take that quarter note, tie it across the bar line into the next measure. I have a dotted half note, and that's how I got my 4-beat note. Now, this is not hard to play, and the more you see it in music, the easier it will be. Now, in our last lesson, we actually began book 2. We do have a book 2 with a CD also, as well as streaming. All of these songs can be streamed. The thing about book 2 is it goes a little further. It introduces new notes so you can expand your repertoire, your music. Now, book 2 and book 1 both have worksheets in them, and these are really great for public school teachers, because those sheets will tell you what your students are processing, and they're good for adult students, so you can tell yourself what you're processing. Now, in keeping with our philosophy, we don't always just introduce songs. Like with Mary Had a Little Lamb, we have the history of the song. Well, today we're going to play Ode to Joy, written by Beethoven. It's part of his 9th symphony, so we include some histories in there. In a lot of our streaming songs, we also have like flags and maps. So if the students are learning a song about Ireland, up there on the screen on your device appears maybe a flag of Ireland, maybe a map of Ireland. So we're incorporating into all of this more than just music. But today we need to get right going on what we have left to learn in this basic series of lessons. The first thing we are going to learn is the dotted quarter note. Now, way back when you were just still playing 3 notes, you learned about the dotted half note. You learned that the dotted half note got 3 counts. You learned that the dot's value was half the value of the note it was next to. So the half note gets 2, half of that is 1, 2 plus 1 equals 3. Well, today we're going to do the dotted quarter note. The quarter note in 4/4 time gets 1 beat. Half of that is a half a beat. So our dotted quarter note receives 1½ counts. That means it's probably going to be followed by a single eighth note. You've only played double eighth notes so far. Now you're going to be playing single eighth notes. Now, if you didn't understand any of that math, no problem. It's not a problem at all. I'm just going to show you what those dotted quarter notes sound like. The easy way is the quarter note becomes a little longer, so the note after it is going to become shorter. I'm going to play exercise 1. Now you, of course, should practice it slowly. Whoa, sorry about that G. Now the counting under it is the counting system I used with my students. It's a subdivided counting system. There's tons of counting systems out there. Use what you like. My students would clap. They would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. So their hands would show them how the rhythm should sound. Now I'm going to quickly play number 2 and then we're going to move right on. 1, 2, number 2. And I hope you noticed that I had a low F sharp in there because we learned the F sharp last week. So as soon as I introduce something new, I incorporate it right away in the music you're playing. So the best way to learn dotted quarter notes is to simply play a song you know. And we're going to play Ode to Joy from Beethoven's Symphony No. 9. Very famous tune. It's famous all over the world. I met a little boy in Nicaragua once who came up to me with his recorder and wanted me to teach him Ode to Joy. He actually already knew 85% of the song, he just didn't know a little bit of it. And he was very talented. So I am simply going to play Ode to Joy for you. And here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you are going to want to practice that slowly, especially line 3 because that gets into all those flipping fingers. So let me play line 3 slowly. You have to jump from an A down to that low D, so make sure your fingers are lined up to the holes and close to the recorder. This is one of those songs streaming. I believe that we have a slow and a fast version for. So you could check that out online. So if you decide I want to just buy Ode to Joy, then when you purchase it, you actually get the slow and the fast version with it. Now, Ode to Joy concentrated, like I said, on the high D, the low D, the dotted quarter notes, and the C's. Now, our final song in this series of lessons is going to be O Come All Ye Faithful. The reason I picked this song is because it has every single note that we have learned. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. So even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it is a wonderful song to play, learning every single one of the notes that we have learned. It incorporates breath marks, half notes, dotted quarter notes, single eighth notes, whole notes, or semi-brevs. We don't have any double eighth notes in this song. We have one new thing. That new thing is called a pickup note. We talk about it in one of the books. When you have a pickup, you often have an incomplete measure, but not all the time. It's usually just the start of a new phrase. So if you look at this, there's one beat in that measure, and then there's a bar line. The other three beats are found at the end of the song. So a conductor would say to you, 1, 2, 3, and you would all begin to play on beat 4. So take a look at O Come All Ye Faithful. I'm going to play it, and then I am going to talk to you a little bit about some of these breath marks. For most of you, this is a pretty familiar song. So here I go. 1, 2, 3. Don't have too much difficulty playing this song. Pardon that high D that didn't come out quite as good as it probably should have. But one of the things about the breath marks is they occur in some places between quarter notes. And that means that you have to get a breath quickly. I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to exaggerate taking those breaths, which I did a little bit the first time through. So listen and watch the music. Now, that's because that's how the song is sung. That's phrasing. Phrasing is musical sentences. Now again, once your breath control is pretty good, you don't always have to breathe, but there's a way to just kind of stop the air and let the phrase be known. When you're singing and when you're playing in a group, it's important that everybody's doing the same thing so that the group and the song can sound good. So I've given you 2 final songs to work on. And I truly, truly do hope that I've helped you. As I said in my other lesson, I'm not a professional recorder player. I was a clarinetist. But recorders are a passion of mine because it's such a wonderful way to be involved in music. It's inexpensive. And once you find a group to play with, it is a lot of fun. So I thank those of you who have stuck with these lessons. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you will look for my video that'll be coming out soon on the different recorders and how to expand into them. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, do that, because then you'll know when this video is ready to come out. So again, thank you. This is Recorder for Everyone. Check out our website, recorderforeveryone.com. Have great recorder playing.